Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Haunted America. On today's episode, we have two more Reddit ghost stories for you guys. One is titled My Haunted House, and the other, The One and Only Time I Saw a Ghost. Without further ado, let's get into this episode of Haunted America. If you have a ghost story that you would like shared on the podcast, you can email us that story at hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. That's hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. Let's get into this first story. This one is titled My Haunted House. We bought this house 1 year ago today, July 8th. We were told when we came to see the house that the previous owner had died. But it wasn't until we were a week or two away from closing that I found the obituary and read that she had died in her home. Immediately when we moved in, I started seeing things. My 18-year-old daughter said it was haunted from the moment she stepped in, and she was not with us when we looked at it. This was after we bought it. It started with me seeing what I would say is a woman walking from the dining room to the living room as I went from the living room to the kitchen. It makes a big circle. The house is a tri-level, so the main floor, then the stairs that go upstairs into the bathroom and bedrooms, and separate stairs that go downstairs to the walkout basement that is open except utility room and a second bathroom. Also, from moving in, every time I'd go downstairs from a bedroom, I'd see someone standing on the other stairs. It's hard to describe this, but there is a window with no glass that lets you see the other stairs that go down. A friend has experienced this too. I've not had it happen in months, and nothing has changed. I've kept all this to myself, but my husband, who has been a non-believer until recent years, has experiences he has had change that. He started seeing things. He had a black shadow walk up to him in the bathroom. He thought someone had came in until he saw it disappear. It freaked him out. He has seen shadows other times too. I've seen shadows walk by and move doors. The weirdest thing would be seeing what we would describe looked like a person reflected in the TV when it was black. It was like someone bent over looking at the TV very close, and then they stood straight up and stepped back. I've seen my husband a few times, and it wasn't him. Well, I would hope you have seen your husband a few times. You're married to the guy. He woke up and got out of bed. He was asleep next to me, so I was trying not to wake him. Started downstairs and realized he was asleep on the couch. Went and checked the bed, was empty. Okay. The newest thing to happen was last night. I had just turned my phone off and was settling in to go to sleep. I was wearing a sleep mask, so it was on me. I felt an arm on my hip and it slide across. I took my mask off, rolled over, and checked on my husband, who was asleep with both arms under the blanket. And I hadn't felt him move. This is the first time it touched me. Very weird. Before someone asks, yes, I have cats, but my door stays shut and they are not allowed in my room. Sorry if this is a long story. It's not everything that has happened, but it's a big chunk. Should I tell some of my other ghost stories sometime? I think you should tell some of your other ghost stories. I'm intrigued to hear more of what the spirit in this house is doing. Before I read some of the comments on this post, I would like to start by saying I think maybe the lady that passed away in this house is still there. I'm trying to go back and read here how long it was after she passed before you bought the house. It couldn't have been that long. But you do say that you saw her in the kitchen, I believe, a woman walking from the dining room to the living room. Okay. I think most of it might be her. Let's read some of the comments now. This one says, hello, there are some states, if you're located in the United States, that have to disclose the fact that a home is haunted. I did not know that. That's interesting. The woman's soul is there because she doesn't know she's passed or doesn't want to pass, because she doesn't want to leave her home. Know whether the shadow figure and the mimic that repo aged your husband is the lady? Weird thing to say in the comment. Maybe there's more than one spirit there. You need to send these ghosts on their way, clear them out of your home, and possibly even cross them over. I had a ghost of a man I kept seeing on my stairway. I learned a technique that moved him into the light. He was stuck here and couldn't cross over. Let me know if you want to learn about it. It worked for me and others. I've told this over the years. Interesting. Ooh, okay. Another sub comment to that one there. There are 4 states that have to disclose a haunting. New Jersey and Florida are 2 of them, because I've lived in both. I've also seen a house for sale once in Florida, I believe Sarasota, that has a haunted tag pinned to the for sale sign. That's freaking crazy. Let me know if you guys knew about that rule. I didn't know that there were some states that had to disclose of if the house was haunted or not. Interesting. Okay, so this is from the original poster. Just to answer a few questions. Unless I win the lottery, I'm stuck in this house for a very long time. From talking with the neighbors, the lady that lived here was not nice at all, and dealing with her daughters who sold us the house, it runs in the family. That's a non-paranormal long story. Not my first haunted house that I've lived in. We lived in a house in Kentucky that my husband has now inherited that was haunted until we had a house fire and removed all antique furniture from the house. So it doesn't bother me or scare me. Now, if it keeps touching me, we might have to do something different, but for now, we're all okay and just living with it. Okay, so good to know the original poster is she's okay with living in a haunted house. Another comment on this post says, we have a family of spirits in our home. When they get to the point of being disruptive or disturbing, I have a talk with them and back that up with prayers and white sage grown in the backyard. It was their house long before it was mine, so we just have to respect each other's space. That's not a bad ultimatum right there. Let's get on to this next story. This one is titled, The One and Only Time I Saw a Ghost. This takes place back in 1999. I was 13 at the time. At this point in my life, my mom and dad had just broke up. My dad had moved out and was living in an apartment complex. A month later, I went to stay the weekend at my dad's new place. I remember eating M&M cookies, reading a ton of comic books, and what I saw in the middle of the night, it was a 1-bedroom place, and me and my dad and siblings piled in a small room. I woke up in the middle of the night because I had to pee. I walked into the hallway on my way to the bathroom, but something drew my attention to the living room. There I saw a figure looking like a skinny male with bushy but short hair. That's all the details I can remember because this thing ran at me as soon as I put my eyes on it. I couldn't move as the ghost moved in my direction. The only thing I could do was close my eyes. By the time I opened them, there was nothing in sight, and somehow I didn't pee myself and slowly made it to the toilet, wondering the whole time if what I just saw was what I just saw. Oh my gosh. On the way back to the bed, my eyes were focused on that spot I saw the ghost last. I went to sleep, and in the morning I told my dad what I had saw, and he believed what I saw was a real living person because the first night he stayed there, someone tried to break in. Which I think is more scary than a ghost. Yeah, a little bit. But if it was a thief, why was nothing taken? And when he ran to me, why am I still here? My dad thinks I scared him away, and my mind probably played tricks on me. But I was scared. He told me not to tell my mom. But I told everyone about the one and only time I saw a ghost. Okay, interesting one to think about here. I don't think it was an intruder. How long were your eyes shut when it started running towards you? Could you hear it running towards you? Or did you just see it move swiftly and fast right at your face? That could have been something you told your dad. I know in the heat of the moment, you know what I mean? But like if you didn't hear something running at you, you just saw it running at you, you know, that probably rules out that it was a real intruder. Yeah, so let's read some of the comments here. This one says exactly what I'm kind of thinking. If it had been a living person, I'm sure you'd have had heard him leave. Creepy all the same, though. See, that's exactly what I'm thinking. The original poster commented back to this. I thought the same since the door was locked. But my dad told me later on that the person who had tried to break in through the window. This apartment was on the ground floor, so it was possible. This was scary. I wonder if your father was hearing the ghost when he thought someone was trying to break in. I'm gonna lean towards it was a spirit. The original poster doesn't really kind of give us much more to go off of, but I think you saw a spirit because I mean, you guys tell me. You guys tell me. Comment down below. If you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, you guys tell me about this one. I think it was a spirit. Plain and simple. Not much else to say on this one. But apparently this was the one and only time the original poster saw a ghost. That is all the time we have on today's episode of Haunted America. If you have a ghost story you would like read on the podcast, you can email us that story at hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. That's hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. We have new episodes coming out every Thursday. So follow along and join in the creepiness. Until next time, I am your host, Dalton Taylor, and this has been Haunted America.